Note the disclaimer.
Every filmmaker is a collection of the stories they love, the movies they watch, the games they play, the books they read, the people they admire. Whether we realize it or not, every story we tell carries a piece of those influences with it. So today, I want to explore something a little different. So instead of talking about a movie, a project, or filmmaking advice, I want to talk about the things that inspired me to become a filmmaker in the first place. The filmmakers, the artists, the characters, or even the YouTube creators that want me to pick up a camera and create something on my own. So sit back, grab a snack, and welcome to the world of Cornello Cuts. Let's start with the obvious choice, Steven Spielberg. If there is one filmmaker responsible for inspiring generations of people to become filmmakers, it is Spielberg. I remember watching Jurassic Park for the first time and being completely blown away, not just by the dinosaurs, but by the feeling of wonder the movie created. Then there was Back to the Future, which Spielberg helped produce. The film became one of the biggest reasons I wanted to work in the film industry. What inspired me most about Spielberg isn't just his success, it's his range. Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, E.T. These films couldn't be more different from one another. Yet they all feel like they come from the same storyteller. For someone who primarily has worked on dramas, that's something I aspire to. I never want to feel trapped in one genre. I want the freedom to explore different worlds and tell different stories. And Spielberg showed me it's possible. Obviously, one of the few filmmakers left on the planet that can make high-budget movies suited on the most expensive equipment like an IMAX camera and have full creative freedom. Whether that would be from Warner Bros. Or Universal, Nolan will continue to do whatever the hell he wants. What makes Christopher Nolan stand out isn't just the scale of his movies, it's how he tells them. His films are often built around time, memory, identity, and obsession. Whatever is Memento, Inception, Interstellar, or Oppenheimer, Nolan loves taking complex ideas and finding a cinematic way to make audiences experience rather than simply watch it. His stories rarely follow a traditional structure, often playing with multiple timelines, different perspectives, or unique narrative devices that force the audience to actively engage with the film. He would even go to explore complex narratives or character-driven superheroes like what he did with Batman. At the same time, he grounds these ambitious concepts into practical filmmaking. Real locations, practical effects, and a commitment to making everything feel practical. Even when his movies are about dreams, black holes, or time travel, they still feel real. What inspires me most about Nolan isn't the budget or the IMAX cameras, it's the fact that he started with nothing. His first feature film, Following, was made with his friends on weekends with limited film stock, full-time jobs that took most of their free time and whatever resources that they can gather. Instead of waiting for permission, he found a way to make the movie anyway. That's the lesson that every filmmaker eventually learns. There's never enough money, never enough time, and never enough resources. At some point, you have to stop waiting and start creating. Nolan has proven long before he started to make these $100 million blockbusters. And I cannot wait for his upcoming movie, The Odyssey. When I first watched Spirited Away, I was blown away by how imaginative it was. To this day, it's one of the most beautiful fantasy films I have ever seen. But it wasn't just Spirited Away that inspired me. When I watched Kiki's Delivery Service, I learned something important about storytelling. You don't always need a world-ending threat or a giant villain to tell a compelling story. Sometimes, simply watching a character live their life can be just as meaningful. That's what I admire about Hayao Miyazaki, whether it be the environmental themes of Princess Mononoke, the family war from My Neighbor Totoro, or the personal growth in his screenplay of Whisper of the Heart. His films find beauty in every moment. Miyazaki is like Spielberg in a lot of ways because he inspired me to make animated films and other people to make movies in this generation, or at least the one before that, along with his animation studio, Studio Ghibli. Even after decades of filmmaking and multiple retirement announcements, he keeps coming back because he generally loves what he does. As a filmmaker, that is the lesson I take from him. To tell stories that matter to you. Find the joy in the process. And never lose your love for creating. If I can even bring that passion to my work, I'll be happy. Pete Docter is one of the filmmakers who showed me the power of emotion in storytelling. The first film I ever saw in theaters was Monsters, Inc., and it opened my eyes to what animation could do. It wasn't just about creating worlds that would have been impossible in live action at that time. It was about making audiences feel something. What I admire about Pete Docter is his understanding of human emotion. Whether that be Monsters, Inc., Up, Inside Out, or Soul, his films can connect with children and adults because they come from a deeply personal place. Pete Docter is also one of the few filmmakers with little filmography, yet left a big impact. He has only done 4 feature films and now is the new CEO of Pixar after the departure of animation disgrace Joe Lasseter. It is hard to say if he'll ever direct another movie, but who knows. His movies connected with families, children, even adults. Pixar is best known for doing that with all their films, but I think something about Pete Docter's direction was handled in a way that feels within his pacing at the moment and at the right time. There was one story that stuck with me, and that was when he came up with the idea for Inside Out from his daughter. Her daughter got quieter and more withdrawn as she got older. A simple observation turned into one of Pixar's most powerful emotional films. And that inspired me from Pete Docter is that he understands that a story doesn't start with a spectacle. It starts with people. My favorite example is the opening montage in Up. In just a few minutes, with almost no dialogue, he tells an entire love story through music and visuals alone. As a filmmaker, that is the lesson I took from Pete Docter. If you can make the audience feel something, then they'll remember the story long after it's over. Guillermo del Toro is a filmmaker who completely changed the way I think about monsters. What fascinates me about his stories is that his stories aren't really about horror, they're about humanity. Whether it's Pan's Labyrinth, The Secret of Water, or Pinocchio, his films often show the real monsters aren't always the creatures. They're sometimes the people. The one thing I admire about Guillermo del Toro is the tension between the performance and the characters. His longtime collaborator Doug Jones has played some of the most memorable characters in modern cinema. Through body language, moment, and expressions, he's able to create emotional performances even underneath layers of makeup and prosthetics. That taught me that acting isn't just about dialogue. Sometimes the most powerful performances come from what isn't been said. He's also one of few filmmakers out there that films almost all his movies in Canada, and being Canadian myself, it just brings me joy to see that. I also love Guillermo's visual imagination. He fills notebooks with sketches, creatures designs, and story ideas, many of which eventually appear on screen. Seeing that creative process inspired me to start thinking more visually when developing my own projects. But more than anything, Guillermo inspires me through his passion. You can find his love for monsters, fantasy, and storytelling through every frame. His films remind me that being different isn't something to hide. It's often what makes a story memorable. And that's the lesson what I carry as a filmmaker over time. Another major influence on me comes from anime, and in particular, one series that completely changed my life. That anime is My Hero Academia. At first glance, it might look like a typical superhero anime, but for me, it became something much more. As I'm recording this, the anime has reached its 10th anniversary, and it is still one of the most influential stories I have ever experienced. When I saw those first 2 episodes, something clicked. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It made me want to write my own stories and to pursue filmmaking the way I want to tell them. A huge part of that comes from his main character, Izuku Midoriya, who is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. He's someone I connected with immediately. Izuku starts as an underdog, born without powers, in a world where almost everyone has them. But through determination, perseverance, and a willingness to keep moving forward, he earns the chance to prove himself. That message resonated with me deeply, and it continues to inspire me today. Whenever I face challenges within filmmaking or my personal life, I often think of the lessons My Hero Academia taught me. Believe in yourself, keep working hard, and never give up on the things that matter the most. And honestly, that is the main reason why I continue to tell stories. The last thing that inspires me isn't a filmmaker, a movie, or anime. It's YouTube. I grew up alongside YouTube, and I've seen it evolve from a video sharing platform to a place where creators can build their careers by telling stories. Channels like Smosh, How Should Have Ended, Rooster Teeth, and Chris Stuckman inspired me to pick up a camera and create stories on my own. What YouTube taught me is that storytelling is accessible to everyone. You don't need a high budget or a Hollywood studio to share your idea. You just need the willingness to start. Of course, making a video isn't easy. There's writing, there's editing, there's sound, there's lighting, there's even skills that take years to develop. My old videos that I made a few years ago are lessons that I learned firsthand and I'm still learning today. But what inspires me about YouTube is the reminder that everyone starts somewhere. Every filmmaker hears the word no more times they can count before they hear the word yes. Success doesn't happen overnight. It starts with one video, one story, and one project at a time. And that is what keeps me going. When I look at all these influences together, I realize that they all take different lessons. Spielberg taught me wonder. Christopher Nolan taught me persistence. Miyazaki taught me simplicity. Pete Docter taught me emotion. Guillermo del Toro taught me imagination. My Hero Academia taught me determination. And YouTube taught me that storytelling belongs to everyone. None of these people tell their stories the same way, but every one of them inspired me to tell my own. And that is ultimately why I became a filmmaker. Not to copy the people that inspired me, but to take something that taught me and to create something that's uniquely mine. Hopefully one day, that one of my stories can inspire somebody else to pick up a camera and create something on their own. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what inspires you creatively. And until next time, happy filming.